In terms of your responsibilities on the team, you won't be driving a sport director's car. How often will you be going to the races? You'll be at the races as often as you can? I mean, will you be going with the team?
Well, you know, for me, I love the connection with the athletes, and I love to see kind of the sport in action. I mean, I think that's one of the things that really drew me into the sport itself was I don't think there's a more demanding sport. I have tremendous respect for the athletes, and I enjoy seeing what they're doing. And for me, it's a real learning experience. I know some of the races, I know a little bit about it, but for me, it's a chance to learn and see, you know, what are we doing right, what are we doing wrong, right in the heat of battle, and that's fundamental to improving, I think, for the whole program.
What is your arrangement with? How long is your deal with T-Mobile right now?
We have a 4-year Pro Tour license, and we have a 4-year sponsorship arrangement with T-Mobile. I feel no tension about that at all. I mean, I think they're a very committed sponsor. They've shown a desire to want to make positive changes, and that's frankly very motivational for all of us. So, you know, they've been a brilliant partner. You know, I personally have been connected to the company for a number of years, and I want us to deliver for T-Mobile and all of our sponsors. And we've got really an exceptional list. You know, Giant Bicycles has come on board with a 4-year commitment. You know, largest bike company in the world. We've got a whole development process that we've kicked off that'll begin with bikes for the classics, and then a new bike for the tour, and a kind of real partnership on bringing the best products we can forward for the team. And our list of co-sponsors is great too, with Audi, Adidas. You know, SRM has been closely tied to the team for years. So I really am proud of the support we've got, and we just need to channel that into, you know, a real plan of action that's effective.
This year you brought in Michael Berry and Aaron Olson. Tell us about how those two riders became part of this team.
Well, you know, I've observed the U.S. peloton as best I can. These were people that I knew directly that they were, you know, all about clean and fair sport, and that they were committed to the team environment, and that they had outstanding personal qualities. And for me, that made them very attractive. And it was they were clearly of like mind and of interest to come to the program. So those were, you know, I think easy mutual decisions to come to T-Mobile. At least that's my impression. Maybe it wasn't so easy for them, but it was pretty easy for me.
The big story this past week was the near signing of Alejandro Valverde.
Oh, yeah.
How close was that deal to coming together?
Well, you know, for us, it's really important that we meet directly with athletes. There's so much uncertainty and, you know, information, misinformation, who knows what around so many of the top athletes in the sport right now. So what we're trying to do longer term is, you know, network, communicate, meet athletes directly, tell them our story, and see if there's a fit. In this case, this is a relationship that didn't move forward, and you know, we had talked. We met with Alejandro once. We'd had a short follow-up conversation, and we never heard back from he or his managers. So, you know, that's been. I was quite surprised by the media interest and coverage of that.
The uncorking of the frenzy,
yeah,
so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I think I understand part of that, but I also think that. You know, a lot of that was created outside of our team's interests for whatever reasons, and you know.
He just re-signed a nice deal with this old team.
Yeah, he sure did. From the reports, they did a brilliant job in you know, taking the T-Mobile discussion and taking that to the bank. So
parlay that. Exactly. Clean and fair play. That's a fundamental value of this new operation.
For sure.
Talk about that a little bit.
Well. It's really the basis for the rebirth of the program. I mean, T-Mobile had the clear opportunity to say, you know what, we can go do more in football, we can do Formula One, we can do anything. But they had a legacy and a commitment to cycling that they took personally, and so clean and fair sport, which, you know, consistent, strong, unambiguous, and not negotiable policies on anti-doping is just fundamental to the program. It's an absolute given. It's a pillar of the program, and that I don't see that changing one iota over the course of our sponsorship.
What kind of rules of play, perhaps, do the riders have to agree to now to become part of this team? There's some fairly strict language that's laid out.
Yeah, I mean, It's quite a list, actually. They have a strict code of conduct that requires, I mean, all their medical support has to be done through our relationship with the University at Freiburg. So there's no independent medical support. We monitor all their training and development. There's very thorough testing, including the blood volume testing, which is one of the few tests that addresses the blood manipulation and the activities that apparently went on in Puerto. There is the requirement that if they're related, they have to provide DNA testing, which is another kind of big differentiation. And if there's any involvement in any illicit activity of any kind, any form of performance enhancement, that their contract can be terminated, and we can pursue a recovery of the money that they've been paid under their contract. So these are quite different features.
Strong language.
Yeah, and intended to be forward-looking enough that if regardless of what may come, that we're prepared. The good news is, these have not been painful discussions. I mean, we tell all athletes, including Alejandro Valverde, what our program is, and they decide what fits. But for us, I've been encouraged by the enthusiasm by a number of athletes that have come into the program, largely for this direct commitment to clean and fair sport. So that, for me, that's very rewarding and motivational.
Mm-hmm. The DNA testing is a hot button issue these days.
Yeah.
You're not actually doing the testing now. You're having the ability to do the testing.
No, we collect the DNA samples when they do their initial medical screening at the university. Mm-hmm. So there's a series of tests we do, including all the normal physiological tests and the medical assessments of their kind of health, fitness, injury assessment, whatever. So DNA is collected then. Mm-hmm. Now, we use DNA for contract compliance only. I mean, that is not, we cannot release that to others or third parties. Mm-hmm. So for us, it's our own protection, and I think that gives the rider some comfort that it respects their individual rights, and we take that very seriously as well. So for us, it's all about doing what you say you're going to do. And that's our express intent with DNA testing or future tests that we may need to do in the future.
Do you think this team it's obviously set a very high bar? Do you think it's going to be a kind of a leadership, you've taken this leadership role really in this kind of effort to kind of reform the credibility of cycling?
Well, our focus has really been to do what we can kind of our own house first. We have probably more resources than most teams and most programs, and I think we were able to kind of wipe the slate clean and do what we thought was best. So we were, I think, well advantaged to try and quickly develop a program that we thought met the current challenges in the sport but was still adaptable. Our medical advisory board is key to that. I mean, they make sure that we're doing the right things and that we're really on the leading edge of sports diagnosis, analysis, athlete development, the whole package. So we're trying to, I think we are in a position to be leaders, but I don't think that's necessarily our role. I mean, first we start by doing the best job we can, and then we hope to try and influence the sport in a good direction.
Looking at the larger picture of cycling right now, do you look at this season and at the future cycling optimistically, pessimistically? What's your take right now in the future?
I think you have to be an optimist. I mean, everybody around this sport is quite passionate about it, and I'd like to see that passion directed in the right ways. I mean, the biggest challenge in the sports now is doping, and there are very uneven actions, very uneven even discussion that's taken place. I think if we can get the teams, the governing bodies of the sport, the testing agencies, and the events to act in unison, incredible change is possible. And I still believe in that. That may be a very naive outsider's view, but I'm sticking to it, and I want to push for that.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. Have a great season. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot.